After being restricted to less than 30 minutes in the first two games back in the bubble, Zion Williamson played 25 minutes last night in the Pelicans' 109-99 win against the Grizzlies. And he racked up 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in the win. Zion said after the game that he felt alive again. Chris Broussard is still with us. So, Chris, I start with you. How impressed were you with Zion?
He was terrific. There's no question about it. You mentioned his numbers, Jen. He did it all in 25 minutes. I like the rebounding. I've said all along he's not rebounding at the rate that he should. He'll get better at it, but he's averaging less than 7 rebounds a game. I know he can do better than that. We know his first game he had 0 rebounds back in the bubble. So the fact that he had 7 was impressive. The floor game with the 5 assists, that was impressive. That's something that he has. For the most part, since he's been in the league, he's just been a flat-out dominant paint scorer. You haven't seen as much of his other skills, but he does have them, and I think he was able to flash them last night. And what I really liked was that for all the critics, the naysayers, the doubters that Zion wants to prove wrong, I think the biggest group of people he was trying to send a message to were within his own organization. I think he wanted to go out there and show the Pelicans organization, play me. I am healthy. Stop treating me with kid gloves. I'm ready to go. Take me off these crazy burst restrictions and all these names they're coming up with. I thought he kind of played angry because he took 21 shots in 25 minutes. I mean, that is astronomical, but he wanted to send a message. I think even his quotes after the game, same thing. I feel alive. And look, the Pelicans organization means well. They're the ones with the doctors. They obviously want him to be healthy. So I'm not being critical of them necessarily, but at some point you have to let him go ahead and play and even say, look, we got to let him play. There's no signs that he's injured. And if he gets hurt, you get hurt. I mean, it just wasn't meant to be, but I think you have to let him go out on the floor and play.
I agree. I thought he looked well. I thought offensively he was unbelievable. He was ultra aggressive last night. Chris, you mentioned it. 21 shots were the most shots he had ever attempted in a ball game. So it lets you know that. And 19 of those shots were in the paint. So it's telling you what he's trying to do and what he is, because he's a monster of a man. But Skip and I discussed this. He's too heavy, Chris. Ain't no way around it. He has the health. He has the risk factor of someone 7 foot plus. That's what he has. I wish I can make it, clear, paint you a nice rosy picture. But he's too heavy. And I believe the Pelicans are doing this because they don't believe, because you saw him, he tried to go through 3 people. He got stuffed, and Alvin Gentry called timeout. Because he couldn't get back down the court. And it just so happens, I'm hearing the broadcast he's jogging. I think it's Doris Burke was on the call saying he can't make it back up the court, or he's jogging back up the court. He's too heavy to play 82 and to play 30 plus the amount of minutes that Chris you want and most people want to see him play. I think long term he's got to get that under control. He's special. He's Charles Barkley. He's a more explosive Charles Barkley because he can jump, hit the ground, and jump again before most people that's a third of his size can do that. So his talent is undeniable, but I'm just concerned that his conditioning and his eating habits is what's going to derail him.
Yet, Shannon, all you said is true. Too heavy, out of shape, even looked a little limpy when he went back to the bench after getting a shot blocked, like he's still favoring the knee. And he scored 23 in 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. And the greatest sign so far for Zion Williamson, they let him come back in. Alvin Gentry or somebody upstairs said, we bless you to go back in for the last 5 minutes. It changed the young man's life. He said, I feel alive again. Because I think, to Chris's point, he just sat over there sulking and brooding and just simmering like they won't let me do what I do, what I was born to do, which is play basketball. And I'm now of the mindset that the only way he's going to get in shape is just to play basketball. You just got to let him play. And I know it's risky because You're daring the devil with 300 pounds on those knees. You're just asking for
Was
it.
you going to play all summer? What happens when they lose?
No, well, what I'm saying is just right now.
Oh, yeah,
you just got to. So next time you let him try to get 27 minutes. Maybe the next night 29 minutes, and maybe you get him up to 30 minutes, and maybe you got something because he is a wrecking ball with touch. I've never seen anything like it, to have such soft hands, such feel for the game, and to be able to just dominate people inside it. What do we give him? 6'6", maybe?
Yeah.
You know, nobody can deal with him. He was still the best player on the floor last night. He's still the closer for that team. That team's body language changes when he's on the floor because it's like, we got him and you don't. And so, to me, I'm not writing off the Pelicans down the stretch because they got the easiest closing schedule in the league, to me, because, Chris, they go Sacramento, Washington, San Antonio, Sacramento, and Orlando. They could sweep home here, and they could wind up in the play-in and be the 8th seed.
What would be sad is that Memphis complained, said it's not fair that if they're the 8th seed, they would have to have a play-in. But if they don't start winning some games, they won't have to worry about the 8th seed or the 9th seed.
I agree.
They'll be the 10th or the 11th seed, and they'll be going home at the end of these 8 games. But let's not get carried away now. He had 23 points, but it took him 21 shots. Let's not get carried away with that, Chris. 21 shots, 23 points in 25 minutes.
Okay,
but see, that was unusual. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the first game he's been under 50%, but it's one of the few, if not the first, because he's usually well above 50%. I agree with you guys on the weight. I do personally, because I look at his history. Look, he couldn't say he got hurt in high school. He got hurt at Duke. He got hurt in summer league. He got hurt in preseason. Missed half the year. Comes back after 3.5 months off. And remember the reports, he couldn't get through practice because he had cramps. And now he's on these minutes restrictions. We have not seen Zion play like 4 months straight of high-level basketball. I think it's the weight, but I'm telling you, there are people within the league and the Pelicans organization. I've been texting with a scout, not with the Pelicans, but in the league today, and they think he doesn't need to lose weight. They're saying, look, this is just his body. This is how he's built. Maybe need to repackage it a little, but he doesn't need to lose the weight. And there's also a fear, Skip, you brought up how he just bullies people inside. There's a fear that if you take 25, 30 pounds away, he won't be able to do it.
He's still be 260.
I'm with you guys. I agree. I think he's like Barkley said. Barkley said he dropped 50 pounds when he was a rookie or second-year player.
Right.
I think he could still bully people, and I think he needs to lose weight, but apparently some doctors and trainers are saying he doesn't. He just maybe needs to get in shape.
But here's the thing, though, Chris. At playing 82 games, up, down, night in, night out, at 300 pounds, there's a reason why Kareem lasted 20 years.
That's true.
There's a reason why Robert Parrish played 22 years. There's a reason why these guys,
Kevin Garnett.
Look at Garnett. You're talking about guys that are tall, but they don't have the size.
No.
Man, you talk about that kind of explosiveness, and these guys weren't they're not leapers. That's way up in the air and coming down with that kind of torque.
Like Kareem, he was not a leaper. He just played to his height, which is 7'2".
And Kareem, we've had Kareem on several times. Yeah. He looked exactly at 70 plus like he did at 35 and 40 and 50. He looked like he hadn't gained a pound.
Yep.
I always think of Derrick Rose, and obviously he's half the size of Zion, but it was the torque. Mm-hmm. He moved a lot like Zion, mm-hmm. two-footed jumper, explosive like that, and even his body couldn't take it. So I do have those fears for Zion.
So, Chris, gut feeling right here, right now, who wins the 8th seed and plays the Lakers? Just your early gut.
I don't think the Pelicans get in. I think Portland.
I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go with the old broccoli team. I'm gonna go San Antonio get the 8th seed.
They should have won their 3rd straight last night.
Oh, that dude
shook their earth. The shot.
Shake hit one on him.
Yeah, he did. By the way, Chris, just real quick, Portland's remaining schedule. They got Houston tonight, Denver, Clippers, Philly, Dallas, and then Brooklyn. Ain't easy.
Yeah, good luck.
San Antonio's is tough, and so is Memphis's. You're right about New Orleans. They got the easiest schedule, but I'm not a believer yet.
All right. Chris Broussard, so good to have you on to talk basketball. It feels good to have you back. We will chat with you later on this week, I'm sure, and we're going to go in a different direction.
I feel alive.
Oh, finally. We all do. You feel the energy around here.